Hi, it's Rob from the Bob Sphere, and it's time for a monthly wrap up. Yeah, I've been quiet, but I've also been very busy this past month, and well, you'll see why. Okay, so usually January is my worst reading month, and true to tradition, yeah, I kept to it. I DNF 10 books. I'm not going to go into that. That's gone. But the ones I did read that kind of stuck through were it's two polar opposites. So I would have really stunning ones, and I would have quite a few mediocre ones. Like I said, I read 9 books. Usually I read 10 a month, sometimes even more. But again, you'll see the books and you'll know why I read managed 9. So where should we start? We'll start from the top. Okay, so it's not in any reading order or books I liked first. Okay, I read one pure stinker. We'll get into that. Now, first, okay, so we've got The Godfather by Mario Puzo. Back when I was doing the 1001 books you should read before you die competition. Not competition. Whatever. This was one of them, so I bought it, and it's been lying on my shelf for 10 years until the trusty jar chose it. So, yeah, and I needed it because I went through about 5 DNFs before this one came stuck with me. It is not well written. It falls into that category of books um, Silence of the Lambs, Jurassic Park, things like that, where it's not well written, but the content, or even the early Stephen King, but the content just draws you in because it's grotesque. It's grotesque, and there's bloody bits and there's some shocking things. So that will get you. It's very bog standard writing. In fact, I would even go as far to say is that the film improves on this because it adds a more poetic aspect. And I've seen the film quite a few times. Right. And oh well, another thing is that usually I cannot read a book after seeing a film, but this one I managed to go through. So, what's it about? It's about a Italian American family, and it's about their rise and fall. Obviously, just the connections with the mafia. It's how this person becomes the head Vito Corleone. Corleone becomes the kind of benefactor for lots of people, and then there's how then this is his team of people, and then he dies, and then his youngest son becomes the head, and tries to take the mafia to different areas. So that's basically it. But it's about family dynamics. It's also about how a group of people can disobey the law and get what they want. They have their own rules. These people have their own rules. You can tell that Mario Puzo did his study, his research. But if you want, it's a breezy read though. It's okay, 600 pages, but I read it in a couple of days. If you want something light, something to whiz through, a page turner, each chapter ends with a climax. This is it. It was quite sexist. It's of its time. It doesn't, shy away from using certain words that we will not use in society today. Okay, that's that. Then, Sartech. Last month by Matthew Schembri. Last month I read a book called Stessi by the same author. Well, in order to do his follow-up, the author had a bit of a writer's block. So what he decided was he deconstructed his previous book. In fact, you can see it's in the background. Sartech in English means I erased you. So he created some erasure poems, about 200 or so. And the end result is actually really good. Instead, from a children or YA story, you have a lot of these personal reflections to do with coming out and, even change going on, a transition, probably a transitional period for the writer. How this book is going to evolve into something else. It's a lot about change. It's a lot about relationships. A lot about heartache. It's really really personal, and it's intense. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Very very good. I was really impressed by this. Well done. no need to put pressure, but I can't wait to see what the next book will be by this author now that he's freed from the constraints. Okay, Crow Lake by Mary Lawson. In the Booker last year, there was a Mary Lawson book. It was okay, you know, it was fine. And this is fine as well. It's about a family, and the father dies, so the children document how they've grown up through the ages and survived. Again, it's about family relationships, family dynamics. It's well written. I will not read Mary Lawson again. It's kind of, plain. It's good, it's serviceable, and that's all. Next, dun dun dun. That's already. I'm not a huge fan of Sally Rooney. Why is everything turning yellow all of a sudden? Anyway, the lighting's really weird. I don't know what to do about it. We'll have to keep it in. Anyway, and the rest of the books are blue as well. Anyway, so A Beautiful World, Where Are You? The third book by Sally Rooney follows four people who fall in and out of love. Very usual Sally Rooney stuff, but now this is where kind of elevates it in my eyes. This yellow is really getting on my nerves. But anyways, can we do this? Okay. Yeah, one of the characters is a writer, and she sends emails to her friend, and there you start seeing a glimpse of what, Sally Rooney's inner mind, and I like that. They are personal. They talk about the state of writing, why what's killing writing and things like that, which is exactly the things that Sally Rooney does in her books, which is document real life. So maybe this will be the last time we will see a Sally Rooney book about relationships. It does drag a lot, especially the last 70 pages are a complete slog. I mean, to the point where it's torturous. But it shows that she can do something different, and hopefully in future books that will show up. And now the light is normal again. This was the big stinker and my first book I read. Ugh. Complete, utter garbage. This is Jessie Burton's The Confession, and just, appreciate that cover, and that's it. This belongs in trash. It has the liar revealed kind of plot, which I cannot stand. It's so banal. Okay, let's get into it. So there's a girl who does not know the whereabouts of her mother. Or actually, she grew up not knowing that much about her mother, but she did find out that the mother had a connection with an author. So she tries to connect with she tries to go and approach the author for information about her mom. But the thing is, she pretends to be a maid or a helper, let's put it that way, that was assigned by a corporation. So throughout the book, she's, trying to get information about her mom, but at the same time trying to keep up this, game that she's actually a helper when she really isn't. And, I can't stand it, so cliched. One cliche after the other, over and over and over and over and over. No, this is garbage. Avoid. Do not read this book. Do yourself a favor. Plus, the writing's crap. Sorry, Jessie Burton. No, this is a stinker. I didn't chuck it down my back because I have to show at the end. But after that stinker, and that's not a good way to start the year, I'll tell you that. Do not read The Confession. Then I read this. The Books of Jacob. And this deserves its own video. And I probably will be doing one in the future. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, even though it's a book that's about detail. This focuses on a cult leader, Jacob, Frank. And it's also during a time when Europe is going through its upheaval. Boundaries are changing, revolutions are happening. Certain places are more important than others. Europe is heading into the modern world. And in this whole mess, there's Jacob with his troop of people influencing and preaching. That's about one aspect. The other aspect is that it's about language, how it changes, and it's about treatment of Jewish people, how history repeats itself. Very short, very shallow, but there will be a proper video on this later on. It is a big, chunky book. It is a lot of fun to read. It's a very daunting one too, but not in the sense that it's challenging. You have to focus, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of detail. It's, but it's astounding. It's breathtaking. This let's say this: if you thought Mantell's Cromwell trilogy was the ultimate historical fiction experience, think again. This is it. Nothing like this. Nothing will be like this. It is awesome. I am still thinking about it 1 month later, and I know I'll be thinking about it for a long time. Olga Tokarczuk, you are a genius. And let's hope Fitzcarraldo get more of her books. She has a lot of books in English that are translated. Maybe they'll all shift to Fitzcarraldo, and it would be easier for me to find them. Okay, another goodie is The Stairs Strumby Tasserasu Samut. Sorry. This is by Manuel Mifsud. This book is out of print, but my brother-in-law managed to source a copy for me and give it as a gift. It's really good. I've never read Manuel Mifsud before, and I used to see this book when I was young in the early 2000s, and lots of people talking about it, how revolutionary it was. I mean, these stories are not out of date, actually. In fact, if anything, there are some points where it's quite prescient, because there are a couple of short stories about internet behavior and trolls and things like that. And this was in the days of MIRC. That culture has still kept up in 2022. But then there's other things, like how Emmanuel Mifsud criticizes Maltese culture, but sometimes in a very subtle way. Like, for example, it's no big secret that Maltese can be very racist. Not all of them, but that show up. And there's one story about this person who decides to interview a Russian immigrant for TV, and there's all these cuts, and they're actually blatant, racist reasons why he's doing the cuts. It's very clever, very clever. Try to seek this out. Maybe it will be reprinted. I know this. Quite a few of his out of print novels are showing up again. So I have for my Maltese audience, do check this out. Okay, here's another stunner. Build Your House Around My Body by, I think, Lisa. Let me get the name correctly. Violet Coppersmith, sorry. This is a proof copy. This is what the actual copy looks like. Wow. This is a puzzle of a book. It's something I read. It's something, this appeals to me. This is my type of literature. It's exactly what I like. This is what I look for in books. Okay, it's about this Vietnamese American who goes to Vietnam to teach English to foreigners. And she gets herself embroiled in this whole mess involving past, present, and future. There are ghosts. There are very strange creatures. There are people with questionable talents. As even though they seem not to be connected to her, they are, and very closely. So it's up to you as the reader to put the bits together in each chapter so you get a coherent story. And one comes up, and it is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's about Vietnamese history and how it has affected people. That's one part of it. It's a very rich novel. It's very readable. It's very fun. And the last one, book number 9, and we're going into the 15-minute mark, is Ambrose Parry's A Corruption of Blood. I do enjoy these. This is the 3rd volume. Oh, wait, sorry. Because now I had the Books of Jacob was translated by Jennifer Croft. Okay. So, Ambrose Parry's A Corruption of Blood. I like this series. It's very fun. It's about a group of medical students in 1800 Scotland. And this is about their exploits You know, it's usually a murder. It gets solved very quickly, but the fun part is, you know, seeing the historical background. And here, you know, you've got the invention of chloroform. You've got people's attitudes towards female doctors. That's a lot of that in this one. It's actually the most feminist one of the three. Ambrose Perry are husband-wife duo. Doctor, crime writer. Or wife-husband duo. So they're fun. Quick reads. Get through it. Just to... Yeah. Because sometimes they blur a little bit. Yeah, this one is the one about the doctor, yes. And, okay, so someone is falsely accused of murdering his dad. And the main character, Will Raven, has to prove his innocence. But it gets messier than that. And it's not what you think it is. But again, you kind of solve the mysteries really quickly. But it's the more the historical aspect. That's the fun bit. Like I said, kind of the plots tend to blur a little bit. I had to check it as you saw. Okay, that's what I read this month. An embarrassment of riches, but just some plain embarrassing. It was okay. My next reads. I'm in a few hundred pages in this one. I had to give it up in September when I received it due to personal problems. But I heard my tummy rumbling. But I'm rereading it again, and I am enjoying it. And then next, as you can see, I've got lots of chunkies. So, and then I've got Pilcrow by Adam Mars Jones. What the Jar Chooses, I read. So, let's see. So there could be another 9 books for February, but we'll see how things go. You never, never, ever know. How was your reading month? I hope you had a good one. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. There will be a video on the books of Jacob later on. And bye.